Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Kelsey, Kelsey, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Sita Sita Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Harinama Sankirtan Ki Jai, Shri Hatmadanga Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki, Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundara Lalita Vishaka Davis Ki Jai. Go Premanandi, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to Sri Guru and Ganga, all glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namane Namaste, Saraswate Deve Gauravani Vicharine, Nirvase Shushunyavari Pastacharde Shatardine. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. You came tonight and tonight they haven't come. Usually they're here. I mean, every night they're here. Tonight they're not. Translator into Russian. Because Advaita and Anuradha can't speak much English. A little bit, but not much. Mataji translate last week one day and didn't come, but now she's come and they haven't come. What to do? What to do? Never mind. Up to you. Yes. I have a book. Is there a book there on chanting Hare Krishna? Thank you. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Leta Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. We're going to read a little bit from this nice little book, Chanting Hare Krishna. Best thing to do in the holy Dham, to chant the holy names of Krishna. And you can try to do a little service for the Vaishnavas, for the cows, but chanting Hare Krishna can always be there. We may not always. There's a lovely prayer of Srila Prabhupada. He wrote a letter, I think it was in 68 or 69, to one disciple named Devananda. In that letter, Srila Prabhupada, part of the letter was, our only prayer should be, my dear Lord Krishna, you are sitting in my heart as a super soul. You cause me to remember and forget, as you will. My prayer, if you please always remind me to chant Hare Krishna and not put me into forgetfulness. No matter what situation I'm in, please always remind me to chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said that's our prayer. In that letter he said our only prayer. We don't need any other prayers. Of course he's given other indications of other prayers also. But in that particular instance he said that's our only prayer, the only need. Because ultimately, okay, we may experience along the path many different kinds of, you could say, challenges. But ultimately, if we keep chanting Hare Krishna, we'll be successful. All the other things will come and go, isn't it? In this world, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said there's only two really, I don't know the word he used, not important. The two factors in this world which are essential, the soul and the holy name. Everything else is going to pass away, basically. Of course, the expansion of the holy name in the word, in the form of transcendental Shastra, even the Naimittika Shastra. Would you like a chair, Sophie? No? You're still? Okay, good. All good. The temporary religious processes of this world, they come and go. They manifest at times and disappear. But the soul and the holy name in this universe, the eternal principles. So it behooves the soul to take shelter of the holy name as our principle, eternal principle. Because we take shelter, effectively speaking, results in us chanting the holy names. Naimittika Dharma, if it doesn't bring us to chanting the holy names, isn't much use. It just improves our material position, that's all. Right? You can go to heaven. Perhaps you can get liberation from the material energy. But you can't attain self-realization or our constitutional position. It's only when we connect with Krishna, and specifically, at least in this day and age, and Prabhupada writes in all ages, although it's not emphasized so much in all ages, but the chanting of the holy name is the most effective means to not just counteract the ill effects of Kali Yuga or the material energy, but to awaken our dormant affection for Krishna, our attraction, by purifying our hearts. As many times we hear that to awaken our love for Krishna by different things ultimately is mercy, but from our side it's the Shravanadi Shuddhachite Koryuda, it's the practical hearing and chanting in the association of devotees that awakens that spark of the spiritual spark to redirect our attention towards Krishna. Generally in this world our direction is focused on fulfilling our conditional situation, and that always changes. We've all experienced that in this life probably, how much our conditional desires and perspectives change. And people swing sometimes from one extreme to the other, some people, isn't it? They're fanatic about this, and then next year they're fanatic about that. They were condemning it the year before. It's quite common. Oh, their tastes, constantly changing. They haven't got a fixed goal. Srila Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter, Yavasyatmika Bhuti. No, not in that verse. It's in Vishaya Vinivartan. Vishaya, Niravasya Vasavajam. I think it is in that verse where Srila Prabhupada says all the problems in this world are due to that we haven't got an ultimate goal. We've only got a relative goal, fulfilling relative desires, relative objectives, isn't it? To get some material gain or position or some adjustment in our relationship with somebody, whatever. Fulfilling some present sensory desires, temporary goals. We're not fixed. We haven't got a fixed goal. A person may have a fixed goal for a while, but how long? Maybe a few years, maybe a lifetime, but that's it. The goal. We haven't got not just a fixed goal, but an ultimate goal. A goal which actually is still there when, the modes of nature are not going to take it away. Otherwise, karma, providence, the nature takes things away. Everything's taken away, isn't it? Even Ravana, even Hiranyakashipu, they had their goals, but they were taken away as well. They lost it. Even they were very powerful, they lost it. So the idea is that we try as much as we can, but through Shravanadi, the goal of hearing, and at this stage, our goal may be hearing and chanting. We may say, I want to love Krishna, but yeah, that's our goal, to awaken our love of Krishna. But the process of hearing and chanting, how to facilitate. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, numerous statements, of course, on chanting the holy names of Krishna. But in one of his statements he said, sadhana, the practice of devotional service, sadhana, means that which helps us to awaken an attraction to chanting the holy name of Krishna. And if it doesn't help us to become attracted to the holy name of Krishna, it is not sadhana, it is an impediment on the path of devotion, no matter what it is. Of course, we don't expect that immediately. If the spiritual master or the Vaishnavas give us some service to do, we may not immediately develop an attraction for the holy name. But that's okay. That's the path leading to that Shushushrosa Danasya Vasudeva Kataruchi. The awakening of that Kataruchi, that taste for chanting, comes from service to the pure devotees who have a taste for chanting. Then that taste may awaken. And by their grace, whatever happens, of course, we can be protected. But in principle, the purpose of our sadhana, or let's say the effective purpose of our sadhana, is that we're developing an attraction for chanting the holy names. Not that it's just something we do in the background, something we put on the back burner, as we say, something we just mechanically. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if we finish our 16 rounds and said, I've done it, he said that's a sure sign of offensive chanting. A sure sign of offensive chanting. If you think like that, I finished my rounds. We've never finished our rounds. It doesn't mean that the offensive chanting is necessarily, serious offense. It means that, we haven't really have faith in the holy name. We've got something more important to do than chant. There's, other aspects of offensive chanting. It's not just like criticizing devotees, which is probably one of the most common blocks on our spiritual path, probably. Or being attached to material things, probably another common one, isn't it? We may not be consciously aware of considering the demigods equal with Krishna, although that is also an offense, and it comes in as Mayavad philosophy, and actually it is there, and it's the most serious offense in actual fact. This Mayavada philosophy of thinking everything is one. What is this? Pardon? Huh?
Her daughter is there.
Who's there?
I saw him.
Somebody's there?
My daughter.
Huh?
My daughter.
Your daughter is there. She's calling you.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Your presence is always welcome.
Thank you for
Her daughter is a cowgirl.
Yes.
She loves things. There are certain young people you can see. And there's one boy who is here every day, 4 to 6 hours a day. Young boy from England.
Yes.
Yeah. He couldn't leave the cows. His parents, they came to Vrindavan for 2 weeks, and every day they had to come to the goshaw for like 4 to 6 hours because their son wouldn't do anything else. He just all day long with the cows. From like 11 till 5 or something. I don't know what. 4 hours. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah, it was wonderful. So fortunate if you have attraction towards service to the cows, huh? Haribol, Mayapur. Haribol, welcome. Haribol. Where do you want to sit? Sit wherever you like. Hare Krishna. Yeah, this Mayavad philosophy. And Prabhupada actually emphasized that in the beginning of ISKCON, as you may know, that virtually everyone who comes to the movement has some kind of Mayavadi infection. knowingly or unknowingly, the whole world, even religions today, are infested with Mayavad philosophy, basically. The Guru is God, Jesus is God, that's Mayavad. Islam is Maya, nothing, doesn't even reach Maya, it's just, there's nothing beyond Mayavad if you get to that stage in Islam.
They are blooming better than us.
Pardon? Yeah, because this is Kali Yuga, they will bloom. Because the world is looking. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, as Kali Yuga goes on, atheism will be the only religion. The more you preach atheism, the more followers you get. At this stage in religiosity, the more impersonal your philosophy, the more followers you'll get. People are attracted to it because we've rejected Krishna. Science, philosophy, religion, everything is, it's becoming politics, is not even in the game. But they're all being basically influenced by Mayavad philosophy, this impersonalism. There is no God. There's no ultimate God or personal God. God has no name. God has no form. My Guru is God. You're God. We're all God. Or God's some, gone, dead and gone, or whatever it is. All kinds of different. It's Kali Yuga, so people are impious.
What we should do to protest or listen or avoid?
We should protest? No, we should preach. If we ourselves have a great opportunity, it's a positive thing, a great opportunity. Imagine you're a doctor and you're on the battlefield and there's millions of people fighting and thousands of people are injured. What are you going to do? Run away? What are you going to do? You're the doctor. What are you going to do? You're going to do more and more and more. You're going to go out flat out, right? To save somebody, right? You may not be able to save them all, but at least someone. 19th of October, to save a man from impersonal calamity is the greatest service to humanity. There you go, Prabhupada, to Gargamuni. To save a man from impersonal calamity is the greatest service to humanity. Even if it's one man. Some people say, what's the use? There's billions of people. You're one person, so what? But it's like if you go to the beach and there's thousands of people drowning and you save one person. You don't say, oh, well, there's no point. I can't save them all. I won't save anyone. Would you do that? You try to save at least one person, right? If you could, isn't it? You wouldn't be looked at very good if you didn't try to save anyone. Say, well, what's the point? I couldn't save them all, so let them all drown. No, if you save that one person can save one person. And then that one person can save one person, right? If you save nobody, nobody's saved. If you want to use that word, kind of a Christian word, but delivered, whatever you want to call it, connected. So that's our mission. Huh?
One funny thing I'm thinking of, usually when somebody's drowning, they tell you need to knock them out and then save them.
You probably sometimes.
Because
they're panicking.
They might drown you.
They're kind of half hilarious. What do you call it? Delirious.
Yeah.
I saw that one time. I saw it one time in Philippines. Yeah, I saw it one time. This lady, she was Chinese. Now, about 10 years ago, I suppose, in the Philippines, we had this holy name retreat on the beach, in this kind of retreat center. And 300 Chinese devotees came from mainland China because mainland China are very restrictive. So they came for this holy name retreat, which we had. And they were in ecstasy because they could dance and sing without any restriction, and they can't do that in China. They got to do it behind closed doors, And they could dress up with tilak and most of them had never seen the sea in their life, the ocean. They'd never seen the ocean before. So they were so excited being on the beach side, with the ocean. So they would go in for swims, naturally, There's this one old lady, I guess she was 70 or 80 years old. I happened to be chanting my japa down on the beach one early morning, maybe 2:30 in the morning, on the beach. And I heard this screaming out in the water somewhere. I don't know what it was, something was screaming out in the water. Obviously it was a person having difficulty. Luckily there was a devotee named Sankirtan there who was Chinese. He's not Chinese, he's Swiss. He left his body a couple of years ago, but he speaks Chinese. And he knew this lady, and it was sort of enough light to see. He could see there was somebody flapping away out there. So he quickly went in the water with his clothes on, everything, just went straight in. And he went out to this lady, and she was trying to hold her, and she was all over the place. But eventually he kind of calmed her down, and she stood up. The water was only this deep. But she'd never been in water before. She kind of laid on her back and panicked, But, it's so hard. It's like fighting with somebody to arrest them or something, An old lady, she was like all over the place, Yeah, it's a struggle to even we, just look what a struggle we're going through. Many of us, We don't want to let go. We don't want to let go to our struggle. I've got to work my struggle out. Don't stop me struggling. I'm going to work my own struggle out. Can you help me work my struggle? Well, I can help you to get out of the struggle, but I can't help you work your struggle out. The purpose is not to work your struggle out. The purpose is to get out of the struggle. People think that the solution is to make your struggle nice. I've got a very nice struggle in this world. Better than yours. I've got the best struggle. I'm top of the strugglers. PhD in struggling. Nobel Prize. The world's best struggler. Or whatever. Basically, that's what everyone's struggling in this world, one way or another, with their health, with their family. I found a lot of these. I don't know if it's a fact, but it's just the people I met. A lot of the people who are like doing like motivation courses and how to get good relationships, oftentimes get divorced. They have a hell of a problem with their own families. It's funny, they're teaching everyone else, but they can't do it themselves, in many cases. Strange. Some big ones. I know some big ones. Not always, of course, but in many cases. It's not that that's a cure. It's like doctors. They can't cure themselves any more than they cure anyone else. It's not like they're immune. They're also struggling with health. Everyone's struggling, Economics sometimes. Politics. So many different struggles. You can't stop it. It's the nature of the world. We're not meant to fight against it. We're meant to take shelter of Krishna. We're not going to fight against the material energy. Well, maybe we fight a little bit about becoming under the influence of the material energy, but not the material energy. We utilize the material energy in whatever way we can in Krishna's service. And try to take shelter of the holy name. So Prabhupada said like that, just our prayer should be like that. Take shelter of the holy name. Because the pure chanting and the association of devotees, we probably don't do enough. Oftentimes we sit down chanting and the 10th offense, 11th offense, or whatever number it is, inattention, is very common, isn't it? We don't really associate with the holy name in one sense. We're associating with our conditioned, subtle body, which we tend to really be influenced by and identify with and so on. Maybe better than someone else's. We maybe have a little bit more experience, and etc., but still it's conditioned. And at least that time when we're chanting, the more we can try to associate with Krishna, Radha and Krishna, the more effect we'll have on our hearts. What effects? Does anyone here experience any effect in when you chant? I don't mean when your mind wanders, we all know about that, but when you're making an effort to be a little bit more closer to the holy name, what have you had? What type of experiences have you had? Anything? Does anyone remember anything? Krishna Bastaya?
One time, I kind of had a fight with one devotee.
You had a fight?
Well,
Disagreement?
She, I made nice decorations and she ripped them off the altar in anger, and I was like, oh my gosh, jeez. And I just confronted her about it, you could have done it differently, and she really just yelled back at me. And then, so I was just really angry at her reaction, and then I just remember it was disturbing me so much, because when you get into a dispute with someone, then you immediately start to defend yourself, and you get into this consciousness where, oh, it was that person's fault, it's not your fault. And so all this anger was in my heart, it just was so disturbing. And then I just chanted, and I went and I chanted, and then I just felt all these things just clear, and they had asked me to come and have a talk in front of the deities about my behavior. I said, okay. I just realized that just take the humble position and just say you're sorry. Why should you bicker for just continue and try to defend that you were right. I could have done that because it wasn't right for her to react like that in front of the deities, but then I thought, whatever. We make mistakes, and we just have to deal with it in ways where we can get over it. And I felt that after I chanted, like when she confronted me in front of the deities, I said I apologized. I said I'm sorry, and she asked, oh, why can you do that?
Why what?
Why are you saying that before you were angry? I was like, I told her, I said, because I chanted, and all these things just flew out the window. It's not a big deal anymore. I realized there's bigger priorities than just to keep anger and resentment in the heart.
So from chanting you had that realization?
Well, I felt all this anger come out.
Come out,
Yeah.
Emotions.
Yeah, it wasn't like, you get clean.
Started to see things in clearer perspective and what Krishna's plan is. Nice. Yeah.
When I chant, and there's something bothering me lots. If I can chant properly, and then problem feel light.
They just dissolve or just go small.
Sometimes you are thinking doing something really dangerous, and then sit down, chant. This is nice to have problem.
Yeah, I had that experience once in Uganda. When we were in a truck being taken to the shooting range. It was a little dangerous. So we were just chanting, and the Tanzanian army were taking us to the shooting range to shoot us, and it was amazing experience, absolutely amazing experience. It's just letting go, because you realized, and this is a lesson, for a lifetime lesson you could say, but just to let go, because you can't protect ourselves. We can try to defend ourselves, but we don't know who the self is, so we're just defending our false egos. So I just let go. I realized then that there was no shelter. Just chant the holy name. Whatever happens is up to Krishna. We just chanted. Well, I did. The other person did. I just chanted and said whatever. And there was no fear. Fear went away. It completely went away. We just chanted, and then some other Krishna maneuvered things differently. We didn't get shot. And that's another story. Problems, dangers. There's a beautiful, I was in a metro station, subway, you call it in America, subway, metro in France, underground, what do you call it in India? The metro in India? Yeah. Under the ground. In London they call it underground. Most of the city trains are underground, most of them. Both tube or underground, yeah. And I was there one time on Sankirtan, sometime in the 70s. And we used to go into the underground doing books, you know, because the winter is so cold. And besides, there's so many people down there, millions. And there was one board, like a poster on the wall. I don't know what do you call them? These big advertisements in the underground they have on the wall. You know, you're stood there waiting for your train. On the other side of the platform, the wall is plastered with advertisements for liquor or something or another. You know, insurance policies or whatever. But this one didn't seem to have any particular thing behind it in terms of trying to sell something. It was simply a beautiful picture, photograph picture of the sun rising or setting, I don't know, on the horizon of the ocean. You maybe have seen it if you go to the beach early in the morning or in the evening. Oftentimes you can see the sun rising, and before it gets too bright you can't see it. It's kind of like, you know, beautiful, kind of reddy, kind of, you know, a little bit of hay. Beautiful, very beautiful, kind of beautiful sight over the horizon of the ocean. And this picture was taken from the beach. Now, you may not have seen this, depending on where you're from in the world, but in England particularly, around the beaches they have a lot of bays where there are these kind of big rocks that stick out in the bay, you know. You go out 200 or 300 meters, you've got these kind of rocks. I guess the ocean is worn away, but they're still there. And sometimes they have an arch in them. Have you ever seen that? They're maybe 300 or 400 meters off the coast, and they have a big kind of standing up out of the water. It's almost like a little island, but it has an arch in the middle of it. And this picture was taken of the sun rising right in the middle of the arch. So it looked very nice, like the Arc de Triomphe. It looked like the Arc de Triomphe in the water, you know, with the sun rising in the middle, just across the ocean, like that. So it's angled. Beautiful painting. And it said there, now, not only were these rocks going up like this, but there were other rocks just going up like this. Jagged. They're very jagged, and they're very dangerous for boats. Because you don't know, they may be just that far below the surface also. The boat comes in and it rips the boat to pieces. And you can't see it, some of these low ones. You can't see them. Very dangerous to ships. Many shipwrecks are like that. They come in, they don't see it, and they get caught on these jagged rocks, which are just below the water's surface. So this, they had a notice under this picture. And it said, obstacles are things you see when you lose sight of the goal. That's all it said. Obstacles are things which you see when you lose sight of the goal. So what do you make of that? What does it mean to you? Pardon?
You spoke like this.
Sorry? No, this is the picture I saw in the metro.
Have one thing similar.
Okay.
Yeah, he spoke. When you have the obstacles, you focus in your goal. Don't focus on your obstacles. Otherwise, you can.
Good point.
Yeah, that's it.
Same principle. So what do we make of this in terms of this example? It's the same thing. Just put it in terms of the example.
Also a bit like problems are just solutions waiting to be found.
Yeah, there are certainly problems which are illusionary in one sense. Anartopashamam shaksha bhakti yoga dhokshike. They're superfluous to the soul. They're nothing directly to do with the soul. They're just, we're becoming attached to a movie or something which we call our life. But in terms of this example of the sun and the rocks and the danger. Pardon?
When you shed your arms.
No, but in terms of this poster, which I'm talking about.
And when you're shedding, sometimes your mind becomes very strong, Really one obstacle for you. And what I made now, I focus in what I want. I don't focus in the mind here, but I focus there, because otherwise I can't.
If you're having problems, this is an important realization, by experience maybe. If you're having problems with that, read Mana Shiksha. Manashiksha of Raghunath Das Goswami. There's a nice commentary by Urmila, whole book out on it. Beautiful book on that, focusing our mind on our goal. It's the ABC, in one sense, of spiritual life, what we're trying to do. But okay, I'll say it. In terms of this picture, obstacles are things you see when you lose sight of the goal. So your goal is to see the sun. If you take your vision off the sun, you get shipwrecked, because you're going to see all these rocks and smash. That's the example they're giving. I think it's probably a Christian poster, but it didn't give any reference. But it was a nice example. I always remember that example of focusing our heart or our mind on our objective goal. So just as you've just said in your japa, to remind ourselves always what we're doing. We're not just doing it to do it. Have you finished your rounds, Prabhu? Yeah, I finished 16 rounds. That's as far as we usually go, isn't it? And we don't even go that far usually. You don't usually go that far. You may or may not be chanting 16 rounds or whatever you call it. Nobody ever says anything.
Well, what about somebody saying, I did to 70 rounds?
Great.
So this is great or just pride?
It depends. that's between them and Krishna, you know. It could be pride. We've seen that one too. Especially yesterday was Ekadashi. Now you don't get it now, but in the 1990s, early 90s, there was a big fad in ISKCON to do Nirjala Ekadashi. It was a thing to do. And you had to stay up all night. You had to chant minimum 64 rounds. No, it wasn't. You had to do it. But if you didn't do it, you were made to look, never mind, Prabhu. Keep trying. That type of mood, you know. You'll come there eventually. Just keep trying. Anyway, okay. Keep going. At least keep your 16 rounds going. You'll get there one day. Don't worry. That was definitely an element of pride coming in. They'd actually ask in the morning program, who stayed up all night? Who chanted 64 rounds? How many did you do? It was like that in some places. It was really, unfavorable for devotional service. And the interesting thing was, in most cases, when I say in the morning program, it may not have even been in the morning program, but the next day, in most cases those devotees never attended the morning program. And in most cases those devotees did no service the next day. So is it really worth it? Is that how we get Krishna's mercy? You have to ask. I'm not saying it is or isn't, but you can ask the question that. Is that really how we get Krishna's mercy? Everything depends on attitude. Prabhupada writes that in a Nectar of Instruction, that everything depends on our attitude. Whether we're chanting 16 rounds or 16 million rounds. I don't think anyone's doing that, but unless you're Day or Lord Brahma. It's the attitude, you know. So as you say, it could be pride. It may not be pride, but it could be.
Did you heard? I'm not sure. It come from where? We used to know from the little bhajan, prayer, chanting. Bhajan means eating, Raman means associating with opposite.
Bhajan?
And Raman.
Raman?
Raman means associating with opposite gender.
Okay, well, opposite sex, yeah.
Yeah, it's Otishoy Gopal.
Pardon?
Otishoy Gopal. Gopal means very secret.
Say what was that thing? I didn't catch it. I could only hear half of it with the noise.
Otishoy means very, very secret.
Secret, keeping secrets. Yeah. Internal, huh? Yeah. Internal secrets. Yeah, no, it can definitely happen.
I'm not sure it come from where.
That's, it's probably coming from a good source, because generally speaking, without the proper Sangha, this likely is going to happen. Especially if we're in the Sangha where that is the norm, where everyone kind of like, you know, you pat my back and I'll pat yours, and don't say anything, okay? They sometimes call it the old boys club or something like that, you know, whatever, you know. Everybody's like, you know, secret about their thing. But no, in devotional service, in reality, there are no secrets. Yeah. We want to get rid of these things. These things are anarthas. These things are obstacles on the path of devotion. But it's supposed to be done in the right Sangha. It's not that you have to, put it all over the internet, as people do now. It's meant to be done in the right Sangha, right? Those devotees who are sincere, serious to help us, Vajati, people of a similar disposition, whom we can really discuss. Yes, it's embarrassing to have an artist. It's embarrassing to have all these nasty thoughts or behaviors. In one sense, it's disgusting, but it's there. That's the nature of conditional life. So in another sense, it's like going to the doctor and trying to hide the fact that you're sick. Does it make sense? You go to the doctor, how can I help? No, I'm perfectly healthy. Well, why have you come to me? To tell you I'm perfectly healthy. You go to the doctor and you're trying to work out what your sickness is, right? Isn't it? And you hope the doctor can do something about it, isn't it? You don't go there and cover things over. Sometimes people do. They're so embarrassed about it, they don't want to tell the truth about their situation. But the doctor's business is to find out and to try to cure it, isn't it? Is that right? So in spiritual life, we come to Krishna consciousness. We don't expect everyone's going to be a pure devotee, whether we live in the temple or not. That doesn't mean we're a pure devotee. The process is supposed to help us. And this is back to the original question, what experience we have. This is one of the things I found the most when chanting, is that, and you already mentioned it, anarthas come up, etc. But it's the emotional feeling that comes as a result of that regret or repentant feeling towards whatever it is that's in our heart, the anarthas of various kinds. The repentant feeling that purifies our heart. Genuine repentant. A feeling of humility, a feeling of helplessness, a feeling of hopelessness sometimes, and we just take shelter of Krishna or the holy name in that situation. If you ever come across a book, you may not have done, but we do sometimes sing a song from it. It's called Kalyana Kalpataru. It's a series of songs by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But it's not just a series of songs. It takes us through the stages of purification, especially when we're chanting. The emotional effect, not just becoming more attentive or less offensive or whatever you want to call it, or chanting more. That's all very well and good, but it's not really much use unless it starts to develop unless the emotional change of heart takes place. Change of heart is not external, it's internal. And the real judgment is internal. So the change of emotion, as Krishna Prastaya said when she was chanting about, getting some strength, some realization, we're not here just to defend ourselves or fulfill our conditional needs. That comes and goes. But our purpose here is to let go of all of this, to take shelter of Krishna. You could say to become naked in front of Krishna. And Prabhupada uses that term. He uses the very term naked before Krishna. And he uses the example. He said, when a man and a woman want to enjoy to the max, and this is Prabhupada's word, what do? He said they have to take off all their clothes. He said similarly we have to take off all of these different layers. They have to be removed. Defending ourselves, holding on to our conditional emotional comfort zones or whatever, thinking we're right. This is a tough one, and we know this especially in France, don't we? How difficult it is for devotees to let go. So hard, isn't it? We're so strongly attached to the way we see things. Very hard to let go. And sometimes it takes a lot of struggle before we realize there's no other solution. We have to let go and take shelter of Krishna, no matter what situation we're in. Ultimately, look at who's a famous example of that. Who was in such a helpless position, even their own husbands couldn't help her. Pardon? Draupadi was a perfect example, isn't it? Look at her situation.
5 husbands.
Huh?
5 husbands.
5 husbands, and look at that. Bhima, so strong and still. He really regretted not doing it, of course, later on. He wanted to break the thighs of Dushasan on the spot, but he was held back. But he really regretted it. Of course, he got on Yudhishthira's case a bit about it too. But, it was ridiculous. Even Bhishma, even Bhishma didn't stop it, and he was there. Incredible. Providence, it was meant to be. But what did she taught what to do in that helpless situation. What did she do? She tried to defend herself at first. Then she realized, I can't defend. How can we defend ourselves against the material energy? We can't fight with Maya. Who are we? Right? I will challenge the tide. There was one king of England, his name was King Canute, I think. He claimed that he was going to stop the tide coming in. He was down on the beach, stop! Stop! I order you! Whatever he was doing, I don't know, but the history says he tried to stop the tide, but it didn't work. After some time he was up to here. You can't stop it. One devotee, well, she's in the Gaudiya Math now, Shamarani, used to be Yadharani. I mean, she wrote that before she joined the temple, that was what she was trying to do. She was convinced, she was like a bit high on LSD or something. She was convinced she was going to stop the sun from rising. So she went up on top of a hill, and she was like intensely, internally meditating on stopping the sun from rising. Now there is an example of someone who did. What was her name? That chaste lady, I can't remember it. She did actually stop the sun from rising by her chastity. Huh? What was her name? Forgotten her name. Yeah, anyway, you know the example. But that's very rare. That's extraordinary rare. But a drug-taking hippie is hardly in the same category. So she.
I think it's Tulasi.
Anyway, whoever. Let's see. Her husband was cursed to die before the sun. When the sun rises the next morning, sage had cursed her husband to die at sunrise. So she was so chaste and so serious that she vowed that she would stop the sun from rising to save her husband's life. And so Surya, for whatever reason, didn't rise that day. Which was a powerful, but she was a powerful person. Anyway, Jadharani failed to stop the sun rising. In fact, that morning it was a cloudy day. She couldn't even see whether it was there or not, but it was definitely coming up. Anyway, she came down from her trip and came to her senses eventually. We were all like that. We were all on some kind of trip thinking we can do this and we can do that, and I can control this, and I'm going to arrange this, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do this. We were all on some kind of illusory trip. Huh? Of course, we're driven by our nature to do this, that, and the other. But ultimately, we have to be driven by Krishna, Krishna's nature, and do all those things, okay, but do it for Krishna. With the goal is to serve Krishna with whatever talents we have, instead of serving ourselves. So, where were we? We were asking what effects we have. So, I guess we've all had that sometimes, a feeling of repentance while we chant, a feeling of helplessness, a feeling of hopelessness, a feeling of depression sometimes, in the sense that we just feel so fallen. It's not a depression that people have in the material sense of the term due to frustrated material desires or some karmic reactions. It's another kind of depression of feeling, humbled, kind of a humbled feeling. It doesn't deter one's devotional practices, but rather it enhances. These various emotions can enhance our devotional practices sometimes. So. It's not that we should conjure them up. These types of things are meant to happen in the course of connecting or coming closer to pure chanting, which cleanses our heart of all the dirty things. But there are stages. Bhaktivinoda takes us through those stages in Kalena Kalpataru. So there's a wonderful songs, and I don't have that songbook here. I have it in New Mayapur, but not here. Beautiful songs. And you can actually see the whole step-by-step process of devotional service evolving through those songs.
The name of the
Kalyana Kalpataru. Yeah, the auspicious tree of a wish-fulfilling tree of devotion. Beautiful book. Very beautiful. I have it there at New Mind. Okay? Yeah.
About the goal. We were talking about the goal.
Goals, yeah. Yeah.
See the goal. It reminded me of a lecture I attended recently. Someone was saying that nowadays in ISKCON we don't know really what's the goal, and before the devotees in the old days they were really more fixed, and then they had these urgent, needed, and they were so doing such intense service that we don't do now. And this speaker was saying also like how devotional service should be like this intense, and we should feel the
Tirena
struggle.
Bhakti Yogena.
And we should feel the struggle, and when we are getting rid of the anarthas, which is fine. But I just wanna, I ask, because in the Bhagavad Gita says also that bhakti is should be joyfully performed.
Yeah.
So.
Well, have a few drinks before you start your service. You can be joyful. Some people might see it like that, different mode of nature. But how? Well, there's several things that came to my mind when you were speaking, and some of them I've already forgotten. You know how it goes. You know, you can say we make many points and you can't remember. It's just like that. But okay, the one point, that goal, that maybe, I don't know, I can't speak for others, but you're speaking, so I'll take up your point. That devotees are not so focused on a goal. Maybe not, I don't know, but let's take up your point. So in the early days you heard they were more focused on their goal. So what is that goal? What was that goal? What is that goal?
They say going back to Godhead, and then nowadays they already say, oh, okay, I'll do it next life.
Okay, so we're becoming a little bit laid back,
Yes.
a little bit lethargic. Okay, I understand. Yeah, we were very confident to go back to Godhead. Why? We used to sing in the kirtans, Gaur Arti, one of the songs we sing. We're going home back to Godhead, bong. We're going home back to Godhead, bong. In the kirtan. So sometimes used to sing that during the kirtan. Now I don't know if that was ever heard by Srila Prabhupada.
These days it's in the common talking and with devotee. We take shelter of Prabhupada, we not need to be serious. Prabhupada will take us.
We take shelter of who?
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, yeah. Okay, taking shelter of Prabhupada. That was our mood then, and you can, obviously, it's easy to understand why. Because the movement wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada. So that's easy to understand. Everything everybody had was coming from Prabhupada, basically speaking. So in the 70s, 60s, 70s, it was easy to understand that would be because he was the only spiritual master in ISKCON, and everything came through him, basically through others, but ultimately through him. So that was pretty easy to understand. The faith, the enthusiasm, the determination, the full engagement in devotional service, mantra yoga vicharana bhakti yogena sevate suganam samtikyaitan brahmabhuya yakalpate. Devotees were fully engaged in devotional service. We know that, don't think the devotees didn't fall down. The rate of disappearance from devotional service during the 70s was much higher than it is now. Much higher. Yeah, much higher. 10 times higher probably than it is now. It's a fallacy that devotees say, because Prabhupada's not here, devotees are leaving. It's a fallacy, it's a false statement. It's not at all the case. I was 75% of the devotees who were in the temple when I joined left before Prabhupada left. So it's not true. But nonetheless, when you were in the temple, you were fired up. You were fired up. If you look at Prabhupada's disciples, I don't know how many are active now, but it's maybe 10%, if that. Maybe 10%. I don't know the figures, but it's a small amount. Most of the sannyasis fell down. Prabhupada didn't want to give sannyas. He had to do everything in 10 years, and he had to turn on the flame full burner. Not everyone could take it. You had to be on, 4 pistons all time, 24/7. There was no space out. There's no space for space out. It was full on. True, what you say. So you could take that, if that was your, let's say, state, or you would just surrender to it. Believe me, you were happy. So if you couldn't, then you weren't happy. It's too much. We're not ready for it, Not ready for it. But the benefit you got from it is tremendous. And I do say one thing, I see many of those devotees who disappeared in those days, I see them popping up again. I've seen quite a few devotees I hadn't seen for 40 years pop up recently. Come back again. At their own level. But whatever it is, that enthusiasm came from Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada was like that. And he expected his leaders to be like that. And when the leader is like that, the followers tend to be like that too. We'll look at the positive side now. Sometimes people talk about the good old days, and they were good old days if you were in those, if you were in it. But it wasn't so easy to be in it. Now it's a lot more easy to be in the vehicle of ISKCON. It wasn't easy to be in it in those days. It was very, full on. It was really, if you didn't sleep at night, there was no question of sleeping during the day. Forget it. There was no time for a nap. There was no time for asking, Prabhu, can I have more? Can I take a break? Prabhu, why is it khichdi every day without fail? Can't we have something different? Pizzas were against the law. Pillows were against the law. Mattresses were against the law. Cushions were against the law. Hot water was against the law. If you wanted to have a hot bath, get married. Go, leave the ashram, get married. Prabhu, can I have a pillow, get married. It was kind of like that, Very, that's just the way it was like. But it was such fun, you can't believe it. Prabhupada wrote us a letter, he said, although it's very austere, it was 1970, January 1st, I think, 73, said, although it's very austere, traveling around England in this van, in the winter, freezing cold, you have no proper water, no proper drinks, no proper food, people are not always so friendly, it's very cold. And he said, I know it's very difficult and very austere, he said, but for you it is simply fun. Fun. It was. Because, the mood was, we just want to please Prabhupada. That was the mood. And if you didn't have that mood, it was difficult. It was impossible. That mood of just wanting to increase Prabhupada's pleasure. And how much fun it was. How much pleasure. Have you been with the cows? Herding the cows? I see you got your cowherd boy stick there. You come to herd us, have you? You're going to herd us now. Come on, get out. What do you got in your hand? Oh, you got one of those things they eat, is it? No, what is it? Oh, wow, look at that. It looks like a sword or something. Shoo, fierce. Wow. Yeah. So, it's not necessary, as we were discussing yesterday, it's something which a lot of us, older ones, have a hard time with, because we were used to that kind of full-on, all or nothing situation. And now it's like, oh, everything's so watered down now. The devotees are so laid back. Spaced out, cushy life. Sometimes, that kind of feeling comes in there. But it's not like that. What it is, or what maybe where the weakness lies, is the heart. I always had that understanding, but I understand it strongly. If the heart is advanced, if the heart is strong, then the body, it may not be so strong. But there's the duty of the leaders, of the inner leaders, is to help draw people to that point, to draw them to Krishna. They're not going to come in full on. They may be at a far distance, and that was a topic we were talking yesterday. But if the heart is weak itself, I'll give an example. Kirtan Mela. And some of you have been to a Kirtan Mela? Have you ever been to a kirtan mela in Mayapur or somewhere? I don't know. Where you have like 4 days, 5 days, 6 days of kirtan, 10 hours a day or whatever it is, sometimes 24. And different devotees are leading kirtan. One senior devotee, a kirtan leader, spoke to me the other day, was very concerned about those who are leading kirtan. Talked to me at length about, Maharaj, can't we do something? His idea was we should do something about it. I didn't say yes or no, I just said I think it's a good point, we should just take this up. But you know, sometimes there's a kirtan mela. You can probably imagine what it is. Nice musical instruments, beautiful tunes, beautiful voice, nice flamboyant, charismatic kind of situation, and you know, that type of thing. Externally attractive features draw people there, as they do when you go into the street. If you go in the street, you know, you're looking very untidy, you're playing out of tune, you're singing out of tune, you're not going to get much favorable response, usually. But that isn't going to take people to spiritual life on its own. It may attract them, but it's not enough. The internal kirtan has to be there as well. If it's just external, then people develop kind of an external aspect, enjoying it. They try to enjoy the kirtan. We're not here to enjoy the kirtan. Pleasure will come automatically when we take shelter of the kirtan. We're not going there with that intention. Oh, I don't like that one. I don't like him. I'm not going for the kirtan. I don't like that tune. I'm not staying. I don't like it, you know. I wanted to play the harmonium and he wouldn't let me play it. I'm never going to go to his kirtan ever again. You know, all kinds of different things, you know. He wouldn't let me play. I've had this in France many times, you know. Devotees have cursed me, I think. And tell them, please, play the djembe quietly if you're going to play it at all. And now they don't play it at all, because if I'm there anyway, you know. It used to be 8 djembes and 1 madanga in the Paris Rath Yatra. You know, you couldn't hear nothing except for the djembe. You couldn't hear the holy name, nothing. Just bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum 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 bum. Like for 4 hours, that's all you could hear, you know. I don't know what the public thought, but I didn't. It's just too much, you know. So I kind of got on their case a bit, and in a nice way. There's 2 devotees in the kirtan. They probably won't come if I'm there anymore. The last Rath Yatra I saw them there, they didn't have drums. They had these big Punjabi drums. You know, they're like 6 foot long and about 3 foot high, and they got these big sticks that they bang each end. Bang, bang, so loud. They're 2 girls. They're like 25 years old. These 2, they're Punjabi girls. They're like tigers, you know, bears. And I just asked them, is it possible to play? I was leading the kirtan. I couldn't hear nothing except for these drums, you know. I said, is it possible you could tone it down a bit? They got so angry with me. You know, I just said, well, someone else can lead the kirtan, you know. It's not kirtan, you know. It's your own, you're doing your own thing, you know. It's not kirtan, you're doing your own thing. Kirtan, oftentimes we're just hoping that everyone likes our voice, that hopes the way we sing, the way we play, that the people will stay, that the right people will stay, etc., etc. And maybe I'll be on YouTube, I might become invited somewhere else, people may even want me to make a CD, and so many things, you know. This is good. You know, this is great. And by the way, the girls are really getting attracted to my kirtan, and maybe more than my kirtan also. They might, this is a good thing, this kirtan mela. I think there's been more matchmaking at kirtan melas than any other ISKCON festival so far, by experience anyway, I think. I'm not saying this. Now, if the kirtan leader, or the kirtan leaders, are deep in their kirtan, it will have a gradual effect of drawing the attention away from all those things. If the kirtan leaders themselves are like that, it's not going to draw the attention of the devotees. They may like the tune, they'll sing with top of their voices and play that drum like thunder, but their hearts are not changing. Their hearts are still maintaining a material concept or material desires, even there. But with the leaders of the kirtan are going deeper and deeper into service to the name, you know, without motivation, it helps everyone there, unknowingly or knowingly, to come closer to the goal. That's the secret, that the center has to be focused. Even in your own heart, in our heart of hearts, if that's our real goal, even if there are many other things in our life that come and go, family duties, occupational duties, social duties, conditional behavior, but if the goal is always there, Krishna says you're still considered saintly, because you've still got that goal. It's not like you're using Krishna to fulfill the other goals. They may take us over for some time, but it brings us back to that goal again. You know? So whatever it is, we keep coming back to that goal. Try to understand what we're here for. And the fact is that the society has grown. I mean, in 1977, when Srila Prabhupada left us, he had maybe 5,000 disciples. I don't know how many were still physically alive, and a few thousands of others who were hoping to become disciples. Say there were 10,000 active devotees in the world, maybe? How many are there now?
And there's this poster in 2016.
Pardon?
1,000 how?
2016, there's this poster of there was 9 million devotees
9 million devotees.
in this Bhakti Godhead.
How many?
9 million devotees in this Bhakti Godhead.
There was an article.
Yeah, there was an article. It said how many temples there were, how many plates of prasadam have been distributed, how many books have been distributed, how many devotees there are being initiated or practicing Krishna consciousness. All kind of rough, not completely accurate, but approximate figures were given of how many Rath Yatras. And you'll see the figures are a little higher than they were in 1977. Considerably higher. Maybe 100 times higher or more. It's a different thing. Now you look at India. How many ISKCON devotees are there in India? What to speak of the Gaudiya Math devotees, who are also, many of them are also following similar lifestyle. Westerns. They weren't doing it in 1977. Many of the Gaudiya Math are preaching now. Maybe in a slightly different way, but the same goal is there. They're preaching for Krishna, they're preaching for, should be, for Guru also. So that wasn't going on in 77. They were pretty much laid back. They were just getting angry because Prabhupada was preaching, many of them. They were somewhat envious, some of them. Not all. The others were just keeping quiet. But now it's like, there's a lot of things happening on different levels. Even things like, Krishna Das and Jayuta, all these people weren't around. They all, many things. Kirtan has become a common thing all over the world, not just because of ISKCON. There's thousands of kirtans going on all over the world outside of ISKCON. Thousands right now, right this minute, all over the world. In China, there's one man in China, he's taken Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita in his own way, and he's got tens of thousands of followers, chanting Hare Krishna. Chinese guy. Nothing to do with ISKCON. In Europe, there's another guy, I've forgotten his name. He's got a German guy, tens of thousands of followers. Western, especially in France. Snapping them off of some of our little groups. The Gaudiya Math group in Dijon was telling me that they amongst many other things. He's a Mayavad, but he's very expert at attracting people. Expert, absolutely expert. But they do chant Hare Krishna as well, but it's much many things. So anyway, whatever it is, ISKCON has also grown. And maybe we could say it should grow more, but it's growing in a different way, you could say. But the heart still has to be the same. That's the important thing. If the heart is strong, everything else will grow up, not just grow out. Numbers is not necessarily the goal. Numbers is good, but the real goal is that people go back to Godhead, not just numbers on this planet. Fame amongst the infamous, as they say. We want to please Krishna. We want to go back to Godhead. So if the heart is strong, then it helps everyone else to become enlivened, to go there too, to move there. But if the heart is at the same level, discriminating on the platform of duality, on the platform of kind of control, whatever it is, it's just competition, likes and dislikes come in, and fighting comes in, and all sorts of things come in. We lose sight. Prabhupada said, I was reading yesterday, one letter Prabhupada said, one article, or whatever, lecture or something, he said, in this age, no one can follow perfectly. Neither sannyasi, neither vanaprastha, neither grihastha, neither brahmachari can follow perfectly. If you criticize me, and I criticize you, we'll all go away. and we'll lose sight of our goal. We'll become hung up in the rules and regulations only and forget what we're here for, Prabhupada said. We'll forget what we're here for and we'll commit offenses to each other, or people who are not yet on that level of digestive ability. So the heart has to be spiritually strong, not just physically capable. Duryodhana was a brilliant manager, but he was useless. Useless, because he wouldn't help anyone to go back to Godhead. That's why the Bhagavad Gita, Battle of Kurukshetra was fought. So that goal, that's what Prabhupada has given us. If you can't expect everyone's going to go for it, but if we have devotees who do understand it, take shelter, read Prabhupada's books, come together and discuss how we're going to get stronger. As long as we're carrying anarthas and hiding them in our suitcases, we're going to be slowed down. It really is. I mean, I was shocked this morning. Shocked. And I'll be honest, I was shocked. I was talking to one senior devotee this morning, and I was asking how so-and-so was, and he said, we don't want him to come to the temple anymore. Now he was a senior devotee in our movement, where it still is. He said, we asked for his financial accounts. He said, I'll never give them to you unless the others give theirs. Can you imagine? You've got to get rid of this. Let go and take shelter of purity. Not take shelter of, positions and this and that. We're nothing. Just let Krishna do what he wants with us. Take shelter. So as long as that's there, it just holds people back. The trust doesn't come. People have to trust. We were like that because we trusted Prabhupada with our heart and soul. We had faith that if we just followed him, everything will happen. One time we were all saying, within 18 days we're going to conquer the world. Because it was just youthful enthusiasm. But in one sense, Prabhupada said it's possible. But you have to be pure. You have to be pure. Honesty is not just, did you go right or did you go left? I went right. That's external. Internal honesty. Where we're situated. What is our level? We'll be honest about our situation and associate. Sangha. Proper association to help us. Wow, what a relief. I'm in an association where I can tell the truth without being screamed at or kicked out or thrown in the bin or all over the internet and cursed. It's very hard when you're in a leadership position to do that. It's kind of like, but in any position it can be hard. But to let go of the anarthas, which are really there. It's not just a question of how to manage the anarthas, how to control our anger, how to control our minds, how to do this, how to do that. It's how to get free of being controlled by them. To get free of the influence of them. Not how to control them. Same with Maya. How to get free of the influence of Maya, not to control Maya. By taking shelter of the instructions of a pure devotee. And chanting together. Put aside whether I like. Prabhupada even writes, when we're sitting down chanting kirtan together, he said, well, at least for the time being, he uses the word, all envy will go away. All negative feelings will go away to each other. That's the medicine. There is no other medicine. It's not meeting and mediating and, law making. All that may be there, but that's not the solution. The solution is the heart has to become purified. You have to get free of all these things. Otherwise it's like, it's just like a minefield. You're like walking through a minefield, you know what's going to happen next. Boom. You don't even our own mind is a minefield, you know what's coming up next. So that, coming together and convinced that's, personally, I may be wrong, but you're asking, I'm just speaking my conviction. That is the secret, to come together and chant intensely together. Hell to who we are. You're good at singing or not good at singing. Okay, you may not lead the kirtan. Because, we're supposed to sing melodiously in the kirtans. At least we may not when there's others who can. But at least you can be in the kirtan. Just let go and don't get tripped out, why they don't let me lead kirtan. You know, that's not what we're here for, to lead kirtan. We're here to serve the kirtan. We're here to surrender to the kirtan. Isn't it? And then there's no worry. You're a free man. You're a free bird. I want to read a beautiful verse. Where is it? Here's my computer. This is what, I don't know if I read it here. If not, I don't know if maybe I read it here in the beginning when we first came, but it was so sweet verse. Such a sweet verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And some of you may have been here. Maybe I read it here, I can't remember. Notes. Before I forget, a little bit of interesting information. When I was talking to Bhakti Mukunda Maharaj a few days ago, I can't remember where it is, but there's a statement in scriptures which explains how we get realizations. 25% comes from hearing from Guru and Sadhu. 25%. 25% comes from churning what you hear from Guru and Sadhu. Internally, going over it, digesting it. 25% comes from in the right association, Sangha, discussing it. 25% comes from life experience. Life experience. 4 places that we get realization. They all have to be there. So it's not just life experience and expecting everyone to listen. It's not just, I heard Prabhupada said. Isn't that a common one? It's true. Prabhupada said. But what you're saying, in the context you're saying it, is not true. And it doesn't work. It's a common thing. And sometimes it's Prabhupada said, who said Prabhupada said? I never said. You know, even what you said isn't what Prabhupada said. So it's only one thing. You've got to know how it's effectively, how the medicine has to be taken, so to speak. Isn't it? Then there's the asanga, or the food that we eat alongside it. There's the medicine from the right source, the prescription, how to take it. You've got to understand that. When, how much. Then the food that you eat along with it is important. And then the environment which you're in. Your experiences and your own personal experiences, etc. You know, like that. So I was going to read something. Where's my note page? Here it is, notes. Let's see if we can find it. Can't guarantee I'll find it because I got too many notes which I never go to. Okay, here it is. This is a meditation. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 21:144. I think it's Lord Chaitanya speaking to Sanatana Goswami. You can look it up and qualify that, but it might not be, but I think it is. He's talking about Krishna. The vibration of his flute is just like a bird that creates a nest within the ears of the gopis and always remains prominent there, not allowing any other sound to enter their ears. Indeed, the gopis cannot hear anything else, nor are they able to concentrate on anything else, not even to give a suitable reply. Such are the effects of the vibration of Lord Krishna's flute. Purport. The vibration of Krishna's flute is always prominent in the ears of the gopis. Naturally, they cannot hear anything else. Constant remembrance of the holy sound of Krishna's flute keeps them enlightened and enlivened, and they do not allow any other sound to enter their ears. Since their attraction is fixed on Krishna's flute, they cannot divert their minds to any other subject. In other words, a devotee who has heard the sound of Krishna's flute forgets to talk or hear of any other subject. So this is what you've got to do. You've got to hear the sound of Krishna's flute. Okay?
Possible.
Let's see. Don't start imagining now in the middle of the night. I can hear Krishna's flute in the distance. Ah! And you run out the door, you know, half naked or something, running to the source of the sound, and you get there and there's some other thing going on or whatever, somebody playing a some rock music or something. In other words, the vibration of Krishna's flute is represented by the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. A serious devotee of the Lord who chants and hears this transcendental vibration represented, becomes so accustomed to it that he cannot divert his attention to any subject matter not related to Krishna's blissful characteristics and paraphernalia. That's Prabhupada's purport. The flute is represented by the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The attraction, as we said in the beginning, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said, becoming attracted to the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That can clear away all other attractions. That's what he's saying. Because, what can I say? I'm still attached to other things. But this is what our acharyas say. You have to become genuinely attractive, not just on the surface, but deep inside. That comes from Sangha. A lot of the things related to what you said was Sangha. When I joined, the Sangha was 100% that. That was it. If you didn't fit in that Sangha, you went somewhere else. That Sangha was 24/7. You joined the temple. If you didn't like going on Harinam 8 hours a day, you didn't join the temple. It was 8 hours a day on Harinam. Day in, day out, day in, day out. Sunday was 4 hours because of the Sunday feast. If you didn't fit that, you didn't join. As simple as that. That's what the temple was. It's like the army. If you find out what it is first before you decide to join them. And if you don't go in the army and start complaining about the way things are. You're supposed to know that before you join, isn't it? You don't join the police force and then halfway through, hey, wait a minute, I'm not gonna twist that guy's arm. Why should I cause violence to him? It's your job to do that if you have to. You have to. It's like that. So it's not everyone's position to be a Brahmin. It's not everyone's position to be a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or Shudra or whatever it is. Whatever service it is. But whatever it is we're doing, we should do it properly and do it nicely. The idea. And then you can be enthusiastic. You can be enthusiastic. If you're not doing something according to your general nature, there's two types of Svadharma, transcendental and conditional. But we're not always so transcendental. Sometimes we are, when spiritual masters do this and we just surrender and do it. And, wow, Krishna's so merciful. But oftentimes that doesn't last. Oftentimes it kind of fades out after a while. Especially when the spiritual master is no longer there or he falls away or something. You lose it all because you haven't really plugged in, We've got to be, usually we have to be a little more conditionally satisfied with what we're doing also, usually. That makes it easier to chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's funny that came up because I don't think I read anything from this book. And what I was going to read about was transcendently sweet like sugar candy. That was the chapter. Transcendently sweet like sugar candy, Prabhupada says. I'm happy to hear that you continue to chant despite so many doubts and skepticism. That is the process. Even there may be doubts and skepticism. If one continues the chanting process, the doubts will disappear and real knowledge will be revealed by the grace of Krishna. There is the example given of the jaundiced patient. He is suffering from disease, and when given sugar candy, which is the cure, he finds it very bitter and distasteful. But that does not mean the sugar candy is not sweet and delicious. It is simply due to his disease condition that it seems bitter. In order to be cured from his disease, he must take the medicine of sugar candy, despite the apparently bitter taste, and as he becomes cured, the real sweet taste of the candy is gradually revealed. Similarly, we are diseased, and only if we take to this chanting process may we be cured. Maya may put so many doubts and worthless arguments into our minds, but if we continue to chanting, the curing process will go on. But if we, never mind the doubts, and gradually we will get a taste of that sweet nectar of Krishna Nam Sankirtan. That was a letter to Terry and Associates, whoever they were, in 1968. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sangha, that's the secret. Sangha. Coming together and hearing and chanting together. Not coming together and just, talking about the problems and talking about this and that. That can come up in the sense of we usually talk about other people's problems, problems, society problems, or this devotee and that devotee. But to, am I right? I am perceiving this situation this way. Maybe I'm seeing it wrongly due to my condition. What do you think? Do you think I should look at it a different way? Or, well, why is it that I've still got this, I get so upset when people don't agree with me? Whatever it is, discuss these things. How can I become more Krishna conscious in my dealings? So when I deal with people, they become inspired to surrender. How, things like that, rather than just trying to manipulate and maneuver things to fit whatever box we're in. It's in here that we have to make the change. Sangha is usually the arena where we can churn these things a little bit more. And if nothing else, we can just sit and just keep chanting and hearing Bhagavatam together. That's another thing, just sit and hear. That's pretty austere. Like Vaisheshika's probably at Govardhan right now. Probably, he does every year. He sits like 8 hours a day and just reads Bhagavatam with a group of devotees during Kartik. Every day, 30 days. They sit 8 hours a day reading Bhagavatam. Others are just doing kirtan together. Others are just, whatever, doing something, parikrama. But that's Sangha, in the association. Satam pasangam manavirya sangvido vipanti utkarna vasayanakata. It's so pleasing to the heart and to the ear if we're in the right association, hearing and chanting. So sweet. We don't realize it, but it is. It not only soothes the heart, but it gives us pleasure also. You forget about the material world when you're in that type of situation. That's the secret. No matter what we are, we can be a peasant on the street, being a beggar, whatever it is, but when we're in that situation, it doesn't matter who we are. You feel that atmosphere. Create an atmosphere. So we'll have Damodar Astikam for those who wish to stay. Tomorrow, I've been asked to give Bhagavad Gita class at this time, but I'm in Prabhupada's house. If you want to come, it's up to you. That'll be tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock in Prabhupada's house. Hare Krishna. And I'll stay there for Damodar also. Hare Krishna. Tomorrow's Saturday, right? Okay.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Sunday, we have to talk about... Pardon?